minutes after 7 o'clock, and we continue with milestones. One of our local institutions is celebrating 50 years. The Barbados National Trust is celebrating its 50th anniversary, and to commemorate part of those celebrations, there will be a lecture on the Garrisons of the Caribbean, held where else but at the main guard of the Garrison tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. And here to tell us about it will be the man delivering the lecture. Dr. Lennox Honeychurch is here to give us some ideas to what that lecture is going to be all about. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, hi.
Good to have you here.
Fine. Yeah, well, what we're going to be doing is talking about the garrisons of the Eastern Caribbean mainly, but we'll throw in Jamaica just to make them feel
special.
Yes. Yeah. And what happens is that in Dominica, I'm working on the restoration of a garrison similar to the one here in Barbados, but it was lost for 150 years in the forest. You know, Dominica is a very luxuriant vegetation and forest place, and the forest basically took over the whole area and the buildings. So what I've been doing is rebuilding them for modern uses, for tourism and education and other things of that nature. And so what I've been asked to do by the National Trust is to come here and talk about that work, but also extend it and relate it to the other garrisons around the Eastern Caribbean, like in Mount Fortune in St. Lucia, English Harbour, and the Shirley Heights in Antigua, Brimstone Hill in St. Kitts, etc. So relating all of that to the garrison here also in Barbados, which has recently got this distinction of being accredited with Bridgetown as a World Heritage Site recognized by UNESCO.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm trying to figure out what direction you're going to take with this. Are you going to look at the fact that, you know, there was all this battle over the Caribbean, or the fact that now we have these fortresses that we can do? So what line are you going to
Basically, it's the latter, that we have these buildings scattered around our islands, which were essentially abandoned. Sometimes they were used as other things, public police stations, leper homes, prisons, and this kind of thing. But also now, you see, in tourism and in public activities and identity and heritage, these buildings are a very useful tool for investment in the future. So whereas in the 60s, 70s, 80s, we kind of cold-shouldered these things and thought they were relics, and therefore we have to smash them down and build modern buildings, they are in fact valuable economic resources that if we reuse them, rebuild them, and then put them to modern uses, it is economic advantage for us. These are the kinds of things I'm going to be talking about. For instance, in Antigua, Nelson's Dockyard, English Harbour, Shirley Heights in Antigua is the major historic and tourism attraction and yachting center of the Eastern Caribbean. Brimstone Hill in St. Kitts, similar. They, a few years ago, got their UNESCO World Heritage accreditation, and to show what has been happening there in St. Kitts, and relate it to the future of the garrison in Bridgetown in relation to its now accredited status.
Sorry, Cass, I'm thinking when you say modern use, because you know some of them have been, like we just said, used for different reasons and purposes, and even in our own garrison, a lot of the buildings are now some of them have become private homes.
That's right.
Some are office buildings. So is this a sort of modern use you're looking at, or?
Yes, the fact that you can turn them into things either related to tourism or conference centers, offices, that kind of thing. But
how far should we go in the conversation?
The thing is that essentially, you know, once the external of the building is done, and you are not restoring it necessarily, certain parts you may restore as a artifact in itself that people will go and visit, like for instance the George Washington House. But others you would be reusing the inside for other things. For instance, at present, one of the big barracks there, soldiers' barracks, is used for CXC, for instance, you see, and you can apply that to other things. There also has to be a center, an interpretation center, and a central office headquarters for the management outfit that is going to take care of this heritage site, Bridgetown, and the garrison. So, you know, the authorities, the people that are going to be managing this will have to choose a site either in the garrison or something like the old eye hospital that is totally abandoned at the bottom of Gemmett's Lane. That could be turned into the center for the World Heritage Site, because you've got to have your interpretation and your headquarters in one central place.
Okay, so UNESCO World Heritage Site rating notwithstanding, the Barbados National Trust has been in the vanguard of making sure that we don't toss our history away, our architectural history away. Do you see people still absorbing and understanding that message, or are we still in the mindset that, well, it's of no use anymore, let's push it down and put something big and made of steel and glass there instead? Well,
it's been 50 years of slog, not only here but throughout the Caribbean. In 1961, a small group got together and said there are these remarkable buildings in Barbados and that they should be preserved, at least to let people know what they were like. Then increasingly tourism changed and people were coming here not only for sea and sun and limbo and whatever else, they were coming here to see the heritage of Barbados. So bit by bit it grew in strength, but it's still a critical issue, not only here but in other territories, you know. I mean, I think here in Barbados, if you smash down a building that's not supposed to be smashed down, it's like $500 or something. Oh, so it's worth your while to burn the building, declare it a wreck, and then bulldoze it by 7 o'clock in the morning, and you've got your site, you know. So there are these critical issues that people have to deal with, and this is what the National Trust, not only here but elsewhere, has been trying to make a stand on. So, but there is still, it isn't over. I mean, there's still work to be done. There's education, 50 more years of work. And the work that I am doing in Dominica, along with other colleagues throughout the islands, is similar to the National Trust. So it's this network of people who are interested in this subject. And what I'm going to be doing is showing the case study of Dominica and then relating it to the garrison here and the other garrisons elsewhere.
All right, so just remind us of the time for your lecture.
Yeah, the time is 7 p.m. tomorrow, Tuesday evening, at the main guard at the garrison in Bridgetown.
All right, before you go, the restoration work you're doing in Dominica is at the Cabritz Park?
The Cabritz National Park.
I love that area.
Yeah, and we have been working on the buildings from scratch. We're turning it into a heritage and ecology center. And we have a hostel being constructed also so that young Bajans can come and spend a week or two in Dominica and
Is that an invitation?
Anytime.
All right. At least I can say I met the man who was rebuilding Cabritz Park in Dominica. Thank you very much. We hope the lecture is a success, Dr. Honeychurch.
Thank you. Pleasure. Everyone is invited. It's free.
All right.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we're going to talk some more about how you can spend 67 minutes of your time doing good in honor of Nelson Mandela. We'll be right back with Morning Barbados.
Morning Barbados, good morning.